The Energy Transition Podcast takes you directly to the cutting edge of the global energy sector's shift, with a specific focus on the critical role played by oil and gas, as well as the pathways developing around a lower carbon future. Your hosts, Leslie Beyer, Energy Workforce and Technology Council's CEO, and Dan Pickering, founder of Pickering Energy Partners, are joined by Josh Lowrey, president of Upright Digital. Each episode engages industry thought leaders in an exploration of market-moving trends and topics, including new technologies, ESG, capital markets, inclusion and diversity, workforce innovation, regulatory influences, and the voice of the people. Join us as the Energy Transition Podcast looks at the state of the traditional energy and oil field service sectors, emerging technologies, and the path ahead in a world of lower carbon energy development.
Welcome to the Energy and Transition Podcast. My name is Josh Lowrey. We are coming to you live from the Corvacon 2023 of the offices of Corva in Houston, Texas. I am joined with a special guest host today, Mr. Walker Moody. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Josh. Thanks for having me.
I won't do my co-host normally is, because I think I might have given the impression that he was dead during the last introductions.
Well, I did think you were hazing me today because I arrive at Corva's awesome offices, and but I didn't see the main building. There's a Christmas fair going on across the street, and I thought this was a massive, epic haze by Josh. Say, oh yeah, come with me and co-host this, and I see 400 people coming out with Christmas ornaments.
Right. We're running a nutcracker factory now. Welcome. Yeah, speaking of technology, nutcracker technology, we are at a technology fair. This is an interesting deal. So we've done a couple of these podcasts today. I've learned a ton, and I'm going to bring honestly, you and I could just keep talking. This has been a great podcast so far. We've done so. We're at Corvacon 2023, and we're going to have other podcast episodes where you can go and listen to what this is. But it's really a demo day. It's an event that they throw annually. This is their largest one, and we'll introduce you guys in just a second. And what this is where different technologies come in and they talk at where Corva brings in, not only talks about their technologies, but also the technologies of their partners and the partners that they're working with. This is their largest one they've ever had. So on that note, let us bring in, we got William Fox with Corva. Welcome, William.
Thank you for having me.
Are you, how long have you been with Corva?
I've been with Corva for 12 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm the new guy.
Well, would you like to introduce your special guest, really?
And my special guest is Tino Haddad of Nabors.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you.
Tino, how are you, sir?
Doing well.
Now, did you guys know each other before you got started in this?
No. I got hired to be the general manager for this predictive drilling suite of applications we developed. And Tino is...
Yeah, I'm operations manager over at Nabors. We were working on this integration since deal was inked in February.
Okay.
And Will got brought into the team, and we've been working together closely since.
Okay, nice. So can you give us an example, William, when you say this suite? Can you just tell the audience what that means exactly?
Yeah, so Corva, is a platform for developing apps. We've got a great system for data acquisition analytics, and we've been focused on viewing things, and now we're going into creating apps that actually provide automation. And so Predictive Drilling is our first predictive app. It uses a drilling AI that's been trained over the last 5 years to basically recommend the best set points to achieve a high rate of penetration while drilling without breaking the bit by mitigating vibration. And all that works best with automation from Nabors. And so instead of just recommending the set points through our partnership with Nabors, we're able to tie in directly to the rig floor, and execute AI-driven set points to drill the well safer, cleaner, faster.
Yep.
So what we've learned, real quick, before you get going on that, I want to hear direct. So we've learned that this is not just marketing style AI. Right. This isn't just cool sounding things. We're like, oh, we've got AI, and it's just a chat bot type thing, right? This is true artificial intelligent thinking, generative AI.
Yeah. So this AI, we've had 5 years of R&D on this. We've got about 6 PhDs who've spent the last 5 years training 11 or 12 different approaches. And what we've ended up with is this multivariate objective function AI. It's running in the cloud, in the Corva cloud. on real-time data from the rig. So we're getting WITSML feeds of parameters in the rig. We're getting vibration data, and we're getting data about the tools themselves. And every minute, it simulates every possible combination of set points for that rig to execute to achieve the highest ROP, and then sends it back in real time to control the rig. And so that AI is continuously running and simulating every possible parameter concentration, and it's been trained on hundreds of wells in each basin to see, if I do this, this is what's going to happen in this rock across hundreds of wells. And it's doing that autonomously in real time.
Okay, so when you guys say it that way, that makes it sound like it's so easy. It's so easy. It just handles it. I have one of those Nest thermostats in our bedroom, Chanel and I, and so it's supposed to learn your habits, and then inevitably I wake up and it's a rainforest, and I'm asking God to kill me, and lost 7 pounds between 1 and 3 a.m. Guys, what are some of the challenges that it has taken for you guys to surmount in order to get it to where you just said, hey, this is great, and it does all these things every second?
Well, we've yet to turn a drilling rig into a rainforest, so we cleared that hurdle.
Strong.
A lot of it came down to just kind of getting some buy-in to begin with. I mean, there was, of course, certain tweaks, certain adjustments to the model. Once you take something from R&D and put it into use, you're going to find some bugs. You're going to find where it breaks. The Corva team was very nimble and responsive. I'd say within the first 2 or 3 wells, which would be the course of 2 weeks, they had 60-80% of those bugs pretty much cleared up. Took a short break, came back about a month later, and the product worked very well right off the bat. From there, a lot of it comes down to adjusting for user behavior, adjusting for how they want to interact with the system, and setting up the interface where they can use it effectively.
And I think, it's garbage in, garbage out, just like any other code. And I think Nabors, this collaboration with Nabors has fixed three key things. So one of them is data quality. Data quality, data quality, data quality. That's what Corva's all about. They've got high quality data in their rig cloud system. They're aggregating it all up, standardizing mnemonics, and sending it over. And this AI is useless if it doesn't have good data coming.
So I've heard that a lot today. I've mentioned that I'm learning a lot today.
We all are.
So your data quality. Now, is that something that you guys have been focused on prior to this?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. So, that's one of the core pieces of our rig cloud business. So that's going to be EDR, a lot of rig sensors, sensor aggregation, as well as access offsite for sending out and receiving data. So it enables remote operations, gets guys off location, helps drive some of the efficiencies. Sensor data for us has been kind of a key component to making sure that data quality is high and it's usable outside of.
So how long have you been with Nabors?
12 months.
Okay.
Just over a year.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking that is it's clearly none of this is a 3-month, a 12-week or a 12-month operation, right? These are both wheels that have been in motion for quite some time, right? So strategically, Nabors has been cleaning data for a while.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Their strategy, 12 years ago, 3 years ago, was we know this is coming. Let's get this right. I mean, what do you know? Can you share any of that information?
Yeah. So over the last few years, decade or so, we've been working on driving forward some automated services.
Right.
That comes down to Rocket being one of the first ones, the oscillator to make sliding more effective, more efficient. From there, there's been a few different pieces built, and now we're looking at the rig overall as a platform.
Okay.
The same way, like iOS would be on your Mac or Windows on your computer, you would have the ability to, call memory, call the fan. On the rig would be calling top drive and telling it to do this or that. With the different automated pieces we've built, we put that in the platform and we start bringing in third-party experts, other services, and we can kind of combine all that to really drive efficiencies in the drilling operation.
And key point that you said there, it's treating it like an app store for the rig, which means that there's no other hardware. We don't have to do anything else. They've already got everything there. It's an over-the-air update, and it seamlessly integrates with your recipes that you guys have already got programmed in the system.
Well, the reason I'm asking about it is this is the Energy and Transition podcast, and I'm curious to know again, back to Walker and I's history, like we've heard about the transition, right? This, energy in transition, the energy transition, et cetera, those are terms that matter, right? And how you use them, but there's lots of ways to transition and efficiencies, et cetera. And I'm very curious. And it sounds like Nabors said, hey, things are going to have to change, whether they're through new technologies, new fuels, et cetera, how we do this. But it really does sound like there was a lot of development years ago that data and integration of technologies, efficiencies was going to be something that you guys looked at. So that's what I was wondering, like how long ago did you guys set these wheels in motion?
Yeah. So, I mean, it started kind of piecemeal, taking individual projects and, identifying where that could be automated. And over the last decade, it's turned into a kind of unified strategic direction.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, guys, if you think about it, I laugh. We think about 2 years ago, no one really talked about, or 3 years ago, Bitcoin. AI, I feel like AI just hit with Chat GPT, where my son, who's 14, was like, I can do a paper immediately now. And I'm like,
I'm a better writer than you, Dad.
Wait a minute, hold off. Guys, if we think now where this partnership's going and what y'all are able to do with AI at the drill bit, fast forward 5 years from now, what's happening 5 years from now based on what you guys are doing today?
Well, maybe one thing that we're looking at, and obviously this has to happen in collaboration with partners like Nabors, but also with the operators, the oil companies, is building on this high quality data and this sort of platform for AI that we built. What else can we predict? What else can we automate? So we're already looking with our customers at building in predictive alerts for things like, it's time to pull the BHA. You're at 85%, it's going to pull it out, right? We're looking at things like, hey, we're detecting auto driller dysfunction. Go ahead and if you don't tell me not to, I'm going to mitigate it. And then 5 years from now, it's going to be, I mitigated it. It was about to happen. We fixed it. And the human is still in the loop in the sense that they're being alerted when they need to be alerted. But today, human very much in the loop, except for on-bottom rotary drilling. 5 years from now, who knows? I mean, there could be all kinds of additional automation, all kinds of additional dysfunction avoidance that is being handled in concert between the rig machinery and the AI in the cloud. And we're starting to develop some of those things today.
This also feels like a case of perfect timing, where the idea was probably there, but the technology couldn't catch up to what we wanted. Corva, from what I've learned, is, it has technology, but it needed the APIs. It really needed the people to start collecting data properly, I would think, right? And then not only collecting it, but then wanting to put into the API, the APIs that would then feed into your system, to where the aggregate could then give information that mattered, timely information. So, I mean, can you comment on just how quickly it's all come together for you to be able to do what you need to do? Yeah, that's to either one of you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're not that distant from Geolog, the just kind of written down paper sheets of data reading. Over the last 10 years, I mean, trying to pull data from 10-plus-year-old wells is almost impossible. What you can get is not very clean. It's not manicured. It's not managed. I mean, Corva has really driven forward a lot of this data management. Having that database available in the last few years makes all of this possible, right? Without that good, clean data set.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, in 2011, 2 jobs ago, I was on the team at National Oil of Arca that was trying to create a new control system that was going to go on existing rigs, just like SmartOS is now, and allow you to basically deploy apps. And, the technology, the capability or the possibility of doing what we're doing now, with the exception of AI, existed 10 years ago. But the will, the drive, the demand from the customer to do it didn't. And the other piece that's come a heck of a long way just in the last 10 years is data transmission from remote sites. So today we've got Starlink. 10 years ago, we might be lucky to get 80% uptime, and you got 1 megabit up. And
if you're getting a phone call out on some rigs, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, we want to send the morning report. Okay, call the rig and tell them to turn off the TV because we got to send the report in. So at least the AI piece of this could only happen with the remote data availability that we have today from the providers that are out there now.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, and William and I were speaking about this before the podcast. William was an Army officer and served in Iraq, and thank you for your service. And when y'all are talking about this, it makes me think how back 20 years ago, Air Force pilots flew planes. They still do today. We have a lot of drones in the air, and those are flown from Nellis Air Force Base and outside of Las Vegas. It feels like we're getting to a point where you're almost going to have a rig command center, right? Where is that where this is going? You're talking about being able to transmit data from long distances, thankfully better than a few megabits. So is that where this is going?
So today, demanning's kind of already going on. In my previous role at Baker Hughes, I was involved in working with MWDs and directional drillers off location. I filled that role for some time myself. Today, we're building tools to make that system more efficient. At that point, it was, we're going to pull them off, give them a VNC license, and they're going to figure out how to make it work. Today, we're building in the automation, building the tools, building in more effective communication flows and workflows to, one, take them off site, and two, like you said, turn it into a command center where they're supporting multiple jobs, they're supporting more effectively, getting the proper alerts, being able to apply focus where it needs to be, and kind of set to the side what's not important at the time.
Yeah, and one of the side effects of this automation is that it removes thousands of interactions that driller would otherwise have had to have, even with an automated rig. Today, without some kind of automation like this, they're being asked to constantly go, change set points, turn things on and off. So everything we can remove that's a distraction allows that much more focus on other things or safety. Yeah. And then to your point earlier about not just demanning, but okay, if we can drill, there's been a lot of optimization in the last couple of downturns, right? But if we can still shave another day or two off of that well and save a bit, every day that rig is not there is diesel that's not being burnt. It's trips on the road where people aren't driving off the road. So, I mean, anything we can do with this that helps efficiency has those downstream effects, not just for cost, but also for avoidance of safety incidents and emissions.
Makes sense.
In these remote rooms, is there one active in your neighbor's headquarters right now?
For us, we've got a few models. We have ours. We can completely handle it for an operator. We support them as they build theirs and staff them themselves. There's kind of mixed models with that, hybrid, offsite, onsite kind of setup. So there's a variety of options for how that's.
So one of the things I heard, this is maybe, let's say, it doesn't matter, 8 years ago, back when BOPs were the rage. I'll never forget a guy telling me in 2014, he said, it'll be 7 years before you sell another BOP. I said, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He was pretty close. So that was a brutal conversation.
That sounds horrible.
It was horrible. I know it's fluid as now, but anyway, I digress. So there was a company they got into the world of basically renting large BOPs, right? And I called the CEO of the company once they signed the deal. It was a huge deal. A lot of press was taking place. And I called him and I said, hey, congratulations. I said, this is a big deal. And he said, he goes, thank you. And he said, this is one of those things where we talked about it forever. He said, nobody wanted to be first. And he said, everybody wants to be second. So I never forgot that line. I'm curious now that you've set this up and this is working. How's the market receiving this?
I'd say there's a lot of seconds. We had some very strong firsts.
Okay.
Very supportive firsts.
Excellent.
Really good data to begin with. And the response and the growth and the interest is it's been strong. Been strong.
I 100% agree. And word gets out. And I feel very lucky to have joined at a time when the end of 5 years of development and a year worth of, and we're turning it on and it works really well. And so, we were on one rig in August, we're on 5 today, and we're probably going to be on 12 by the end of November. So that's snowballing.
Fast. Yeah. It's very fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think people see it. It looks familiar to them. It's right there in the HMI. Drill those first 2 or 3 stands and it works. Okay, we're good. We're off to the races. So,
what are the challenges from this point on? So, listening to 5 or 10 years of development sounds like sticking your hand in a blender, right? Like that sounds horrible. And William, obviously born with a map to the right place at the right time. Like, I've just been here 12 weeks and now it's wonderful.
Look what I did.
What is it? What are the challenges going forward?
Scale, support, those kind of things. But as we build in workflow, build in the interface more effectively, a lot of that comes a little easier. I mean, I'd say overall the integrations for us is very simple. For the driller, they're going from 5 to 10,000 interactions in a well to manage parameters to 1 to 2. It's an on and off button. As they get more and more comfortable with that, that becomes easier and easier and less work to support each individual.
When you say
shop.
that, as they get more comfortable with that, what do you mean? Just as
more comfortable with leaving it on, letting it do its thing. There's still I guess if you got behind the wheel of a Tesla with auto drive, you're going to keep, you're going to white knuckle for a while. And then eventually you're going to get to
that's
the
an
point
interesting point.
Like having your child, learn to drive a car and you're in the passenger seat and you don't know if you want him to get on I-10 or not. You're grabbing the steering wheel.
You're slamming the brake.
It doesn't exist. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Once they get to that level of comfort that it's just, the system turns it on. We actually have it in our recipe to automatically turn on after making a connection. Once they get comfortable with that, it, frees them up to keep the rig running, manage the crews, do more of their job besides pressing buttons.
Yeah. How do I say this? Is it easier to teach? How is your workforce receiving that? I mean, I want to think that people understand, like, hey, we are in a different time today. Everybody has a smartphone. Teslas are pretty widely accepted. If that's a great example. I would imagine the workforce is like, hey, I've got to accept new technologies.
Yeah, I think the reception has been good across all demographics, and it's a key point though, which is we've got to get out there, and there's no substitute for being there in person and sitting down with the company man and the driller and saying, okay, this is what it's doing. It's not just a black box. It's obeying your rules and your limits. We just need you to set, here's your max, here's your min, and let's sit here together and get it dialed in. But then after that, we're going to ask you to, let her eat, as they say. And so that's been working pretty well. And I think the other thing for us scale-wise is that this R&D team, has gotten sort of almost a factory for models built. And so as we go into other basins, so we're in 3 basins today, but
which basin?
We're in the Permian, the Bakken, and the Haynesville.
Okay.
And
3 different types. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so as we go, international, as we go other places, North America, South America, we need to build models. But now that is a couple of week process. So as long as we can get about 50 wells of data in the system, then we can build and train a model for each new basin, and operators might make their own model. But so that had been a big hurdle before, but now with the automation they've built over the last couple of years, we're able to iterate that much faster, as we scale out.
Guys, when, it sounds like Tino, you've been there a year. William, you've been there 12 weeks. If you think about people that are considering an energy career today, young persons in school right now, I assume this wasn't on y'all's list when you were getting out of college or getting out of the Army. What could you tell them about the opportunities that you guys are seeing being at the tip of the spear on this technological advancement?
Well, for me, when I got out, it was energy or a plastic bag manufacturing company, and I went energy. And also it was in Austin, and my wife was like, we're going to Austin. But what I would say is hydrocarbons and fossil fuels are going to be part of the mix for the Earth for a while, possibly for a very long time. And this is an industry, at least my experience, and I'm happy to hear what you guys think, but if you put your hand up and say, yes, give me more responsibility, the ability, I was a history major. I don't know, what am I doing, as GM of an AI thing? But, as a history major, I was able to say, you know what, I volunteer, give me that software product, give me that repair shop, we'll figure it out. And every 18 months, you're going to get a new opportunity. And if you put in, you're going to rise and get something you like. And I've seen that every company I've worked for. So I think this is one of those industries where it's not some sort of stratified tiered thing that's you can't move around, you can't do different things. You are going to move around, you are going to do different things, and it's exciting and rewarding. So I think it's the best energy, the best industry. Pardon me.
You're right on both, by the way.
Yeah, I'd definitely agree with that. I mean, I came out of college with a petroleum engineering degree, so I made my choice early. I saw the expected salary relative to the other options.
And you had AI on your brain from the moment.
Exactly.
You were very early in thinking through it.
And someone said something about downturns. I'll figure it out.
I got that.
Figure it out. Yeah.
I'd say today compared to what it was when I started, which I mean, in the grand scheme of things, isn't all that long, 13 years or so.
You've experienced maybe some of the roughest 13 years possible
Since the 80s. Good
Yes.
work. Your timing is suspect.
There's a reason I don't need haircuts anymore. But it's, I mean, what you can get involved with, the kind of technology you can work with, the kind of skill sets you can develop, it's very different than kind of what you may have thought of the industry a while back. I mean, we're here talking about AI, data management. These are
right. This is exciting, but we are dealing with industry that's been around for over 100 years, right? And we have people that are not necessarily change agents that sometimes run the companies. So if you guys had a magic wand and could give advice to one of your best friends that runs an upstream company today, and maybe along the lines of what Josh is saying, what would you tell them to dive headfirst in right now in order to make sure that their company is successful?
Well, so from my perspective, if I had that one piece of advice or that one wand, I would say get control of your data. And in the past, maybe as I think some other speakers may have said, the efficiency pull wasn't there. It's there now. You know, we're under capital discipline, and it is table stakes now if you want to be around in 5 years to have control of your data and be using it every day to improve efficiency and improve automation. And I agree with the other folks. If you're not doing this in 5 years, you're going to belong to somebody else.
So you're saying you talk to your buddy at the E&P company and you say, hey, make sure you control and own your data.
That's right. And are using it.
Okay.
You know, because how many times we're drowning in data and nobody's looking at it. You know, so I could name a million cases of this, but that would be the takeaway is get control of it and use it for competitive advantage.
Great
Tino?
point.
I'd absolutely agree with that. That's
Tino,
come
yeah, you
on.
can't get away with that.
No, F plus.
Yeah,
is your
exactly.
grade.
Your other friend.
You need another friend.
I sneaked through college.
So no, because right now, let's say that your friend is saying, you know what, we've done these things. We're a family-run oil company. We have 40,000 barrels a day. We've done pretty well over the last 72 years. Why would I start doing this now?
So I'll just say, you know, what are you paying for? What are you paying for? You're paying for somebody to haul oil. and they say the truck's full or it's not, or what? You're paying somebody to haul your water away. You're paying somebody to pipe your water away. Do you even know what is generating that bill? And the answer is we all know you don't. The data's out there. It's not being aggregated. It's not being used to check. Just one example. And, in a previous life, we found that in general, 10% overbilling or, round up on every invoice to an E&P. And nobody can check that manually. You could hire 40 people and you still couldn't do it. But with data, if you can clean your data up, you can write a few simple rules like we're doing here for drilling, that is real, move the needle.
That's money.
That's big time.
That's money.
Yeah. So just one example.
Yeah. I mean, stepping forward further with demanning, really embracing these automated services. I mean, even for the small operators, the single rig or partial year rig operators they're going to benefit from the efficiencies that we've developed with those larger operators with a full fleet that we have access to. You certainly could bring in someone that can really drive down your well, hopefully, or your well cost, hopefully. We can do it effectively with what we have automated. We can move guys off location and reduce risk, reduce costs.
It's pretty powerful sales pitch.
Yeah,
Guys.
big
win
safety
overall.
and money.
Yeah,
those are good deals. Well, gentlemen, they are the natives are restless behind us here. I see a bunch of people eating ice cream and pretzels, but is there anything that I've missed that you would like me to touch on here?
I think we hit a lot of the high points. I mean, we're incredibly excited about what we've been doing here.
Yeah, it's exciting to listen to it.
We've got
it sounds
different. I printed them out and handed them out with my Halloween candy. Just to,
I bet you were a popular house.
Oh, of course.
Can I get you in an automated rig today? I think we hit the high points, and we're excited about it, and we're excited about what other things Nabors and Corva can bring to the market together in the future.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Wait, hang on. I would be doing our friend Dan Pickering a disservice if we did not ask. I'm not going to do the whole lightning round questionnaire, but I will ask one of his questions, and that is, and everybody has to answer it. It's the one-word response. It's not so we typically do 10 questions per, but we're just going to do the one because he asked one that's consistent. Will the Houston Texans make the Super Bowl in the next 10 years? We'll start with you, Tino.
Is there money on this?
No.
Okay.
You've already broken the one-word answer rule.
This is Tino.
I'm going to go with no. No, it's highly unlikely.
No.
You have
Yes. If the Astros can go from 100 losses to World Series, at least 2 or 3 times, yes.
the Rangers did win
Last night.
I'm from Dallas, so that was a big deal for me. I love the Stros, but it was nice to see the Rangers win. Well, gentlemen, truly, you
didn't answer.
No, I don't answer. I've just asked. I just really laugh every time. To be honest with you, my favorite part about it is looking at Dan's disappointment when somebody says no. That's my favorite thing. When somebody says no, he's like, okay, thank you.
We'll pass this along to him.
So,
guys, thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.